Welcome to our channel. Have you ever wondered how the U.S. became the leader of the world economy and technology, controlling key trade routes? Why does this country remain almost invulnerable and set its own rules of the game? Let's get to the bottom of how it works. Who are Americans? They are only 4% of the world's population, about 330 million people, and yet they are the ones who create a quarter of all goods and services on the planet. An incredible achievement for such a small part of the total population. For comparison, the 3 billion people of China, India, and Russia together produce the same amount. The American economy is one of the most powerful economies in the world, supporting half of the planet's most valuable companies. What's more, 8 of the top 10 largest corporations are American. The United States is not just a huge engine of the global economy, but also a leader in innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. Why is the U.S. economy so strong? It all started in the 20th century. While the world's leading countries were destroying themselves with wars and revolutions, America not only stayed out of most of the destruction, but profited from those conflicts. Moreover, it attracted the best minds and scientific resources from around the world, becoming a center of technology and innovation. Today, the position of the United States is also unique. The country completely dominates its continent and is nearly invulnerable to external invasions. Its geographical position provides protection, oceans to the east and west, and friendly nations to the north and south. Theoretically, nuclear missiles could be pointed at the United States, but it is guaranteed to retaliate with a crushing blow. This makes direct aggression against them almost impossible. The U.S. armed forces are much larger and more powerful than the armies of all neighboring countries. This gives the U.S. the ability to easily influence key processes in international trade. What exactly do they control? A huge part of world trade, the most important segment of it, about 80% of the trade turnover, which passes through sea routes. This has remained the fastest and cheapest way to exchange goods throughout human history. However, there is an important difference. In past centuries, the main trade routes were across the Atlantic Ocean. European countries used this route to colonize Africa and North and South America, taking resources, wealth, and people from there. Thus, control of trade routes has always been a key factor in global economic and military power. In the early 1980s, the world witnessed an extraordinary phenomenon. For the first time in history, the same amount of goods began to be transported across the Pacific Ocean as across the Atlantic Ocean. This was a major turning point in world trade. The Pacific, which had long been less utilized, became the new artery of the global economy, linking the rapidly developing Asian countries to the rest of the world. Now, let's look at a map. Which countries are geographically positioned in such a way that they control the two most important oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, at once? The answer is obvious. It is the United States. Their unique position allows them to simultaneously dominate on both oceanic routes with no major geographical obstacles or competitors nearby. To consolidate this position, the United States has historically used the power of its Navy and influence over international institutions. They have built the largest Navy in the world, control strategically important points such as the Panama Canal, and actively develop alliances with key countries. These actions ensure control of the world's trade routes, which serve as the foundation of their economic power. So, why does the United States remain the leader of the world system in the 21st century? The objective reasons are obvious. Its economy, military power, allied relationships, and location leave no realistic chance for anyone to challenge it in the near future. The U.S. continues to maintain its influence using a combination of force, diplomacy, and economics that allows it to remain at the top of the world system. The early 20th century was a time of rapid economic growth for the U.S. The country began an industrial boom. Factories were built everywhere, railroads were laid, and the production of automobiles and steamships developed. However, all of this activity was concentrated mainly on the East Coast. Today, the situation is different. The most populated state in the United States is California, which has become the center of modern technology and economy. San Francisco, with its famous Silicon Valley, where the largest IT companies are concentrated, and Los Angeles, the world's center of the film industry, known for Hollywood, are located here. These key economic and cultural points are located on the West Coast. At the beginning of the 20th century, the western territories of the United States were much less populated than the East Coast. However, this has changed over time, and today the West is home to a significant portion of the country's population. This shows that the U.S. realized the need to develop its West, which later became an important step to strengthen its economic power. However, there was a serious problem at that time. To deliver goods from New York to San Francisco using the cheapest way, by sea, they had to travel more than 22,000 kilometers around South America. For comparison, you could cross the Atlantic twice in the same distance and come back again, unless an iceberg blocked the way. To solve this problem, the U.S. began looking for ways to connect the two oceans by a shorter route. The narrow Isthmus of Panama proved to be the most suitable place. The alternative option, Nicaragua, was rejected due to the high cost and the dangers connected with volcanic activity in the region. However, the project faced a serious obstacle. At the beginning of the 20th century, Panama was under the control of Colombia, which refused to agree to the construction of the canal. To overcome this obstacle, the U.S. decided to support the Panamanian independence movement. In 1903, taking advantage of the tense situation, the Americans actively intervened. On November 4th, a rebellion broke out in Panama, and the U.S. Navy blocked the Colombian forces, preventing them from suppressing the rebellion. Just 2 days later, the United States officially recognized Panama as an independent state, and another 12 days later, a treaty was signed under which the U.S. received the right to build and control the Panama Canal. For this, America paid $10 million and pledged to pay $250,000 annually for rent. The canal opened in 1914 and became a strategically important object that drastically changed international trade. Trade routes from East Asia to New York were now shorter, and the U.S. was able to quickly move its naval forces between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Control of the canal gave America a key position in world trade. However, throughout the 20th century, the Panama Canal remained a source of conflict. It was only in 1999 that the U.S. transferred it to Panamanian control. The construction of the canal was part of a broad American strategy to increase its influence. In the 19th century, they had already seized vast territories from Mexico, and in 1848 they added California, Texas, Arizona, and other states to their possessions. By the early 20th century, the U.S. completely dominated North and South America, and after World War II, America expanded its influence around the world. During World War II, the USA not only doubled its industrial production, but also strengthened its position thanks to Lend-Lease. This program first helped Great Britain and then the Soviet Union and other allies. In return, the U.S. gained control of key naval bases in the Atlantic Ocean, which strengthened its military dominance. After the war, America continued to use its technology and economic resources to consolidate world influence. Japan, Germany, South Korea, and China, each of these countries experienced an economic miracle with U.S. support. America provided technology, investment, and protection, which contributed to their development and strengthened their economic ties to the world market. Today, the Panama Canal, like the Suez Canal and the Bosporus Strait, remains one of the key sites of global trade that countries seek to control. Incidents like the blockage of the Suez Canal in 2021 showed how important maritime corridors are to economies. It is estimated that the total losses from the canal blockage were approximately $60 billion. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues to play a leading role in managing these global flows, offering the world not only strength, but also its technology and markets. Who is the main buyer of Chinese goods today? The United States. And who buys the most of German products? Also the United States. What about South Korea and Japanese goods? Here, China is in first place, but the U.S. holds the second position. However, American supremacy is determined not only by military or financial dominance, but also by key control over advanced technology. The largest number of patents in the world are registered in the USA. This is due to the developed system of intellectual property protection, which stimulates innovation and entrepreneurship. In the U.S., patents cover a wide range of technologies and industries, including information technology, biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, and many others. In the early 20th century, economic development in the United States was greatly fueled by immigrant labor. Cheap labor came to the country where it was possible to earn more and succeed. But today, the situation has changed. Priority is given not to the quantity of labor, but to its quality. The country needs specialists who create new technologies, increase productivity, and solve the problem of labor shortages in the face of an aging population. The decline in birth rates in developed countries is pushing the US, Japan, and Russia into a future divided between retirees and those who provide for them. Economic growth can no longer be achieved by moving people from villages and farms to factories. Engineers capable of developing and maintaining robotic systems are now needed. But the U.S. is in an advantageous position. They have the resources to attract the best talent from around the world and develop their own workforce. The country remains one of the most popular destinations for international students. The United States attracts about 1 million international students each year, which is 600,000 more than Germany and 500,000 more than Canada and Australia. In addition, the U.S. has developed a system for commercializing inventions over the centuries. Scientists can be sure that their research will find funding, and inventors can be sure that their patents will be profitable. Examples from different eras. In the 1980s, a group of researchers led by Mark Ribert at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology developed walking robots. In the late 19th century, Wisconsin farmers patented photographic film. Next, the process is standard. The military or entrepreneurs buy patents and implement developments. Ribert received funding from DARPA, which led to the creation of Boston Dynamics and its famous robots. And the patent for photographic film was purchased by entrepreneur George Eastman, who founded Kodak and made photography available to everyone. The scheme still works today. The development of microchips and the internet, originally funded by the U.S. military to create a system of defense against nuclear strikes, gave the world computers and smartphones. The ideas were picked up by entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, leading to commercial success and mass adoption of the technology. Thus, the United States continues to set the tone in economics, technology, and world politics, remaining the leader of the global system. But how long can America maintain this supremacy? We cover this and much more on our channel. Subscribe so you don't miss new interesting episodes. Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned. Your opinion really matters.